I'm only pretty sure that I can't take anymore. Before you take a swing, I wonder, what are we fighting for? When I say out loud, I want to.
So this is just going to be a quick little run through on how I played How's It Gonna Be by Third Eye Blind. I did a little cover of it on my channel here a while back, and it's done on the recording as a full band, and because I love acoustic guitar, I thought I'd do an acoustic version of it and show you what I did, just because sometimes when you take a song that has a full band and try to reproduce it on an acoustic guitar, it can be left wanting or sound like it's missing something. But I really like this version that I did because I think it does sound a little bit more full. And the secret is going to be in the chords that I use. It's going to be the sus chords. It's very sus. So the three main chords that we use, well, there's actually four, but E major. We're going to be capoed on the first fret, standard tuning, and it's E major is the first chord, and then we're going to go to a B suspended or B sus. So that's going to be 2, 4, 4, 0, 0, not playing our E string. And then we're going to slide that same shape down 2 frets and get an A sus. So we have, I just really like how that sounds. I think in the recording it's going to be on electric guitar and it's just going to be, but when you play it acoustic, you can get a lot of nice resonance and sound from your guitar by adding in those sus chords and really letting your B and your E string ring out. You hear how in that transition they're still very audible. You go to the E. And the rhythm is a little bit different, especially when you try and sing on top of it. That little progression starts on the pickup note of the next measure. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. So it can be a little bit difficult to get familiar with, like I say, singing on top of it. Something to note is that pickup note sometimes does align with the melody, what he's singing. So for the first verse, as an example, I'm only pretty sure that I can't take anymore. And there's going to be other examples of that, but that can be something helpful to recognize when learning it, that you're going to be making that jump up to that pickup chord the same time as you're singing a particular word in the song. So I'm only pretty sure that I can't take anymore. Before you take a swing, I wonder, what are we? So that's another example. I don't think every verse is like that, but when you recognize that, that can be, like I say, helpful. The next section, we do need to learn a new chord for it. It's going to be a variation of an F sharp. And we're going to take that same position that we played in our B sus and just move it up a string. So there. And then I replace my thumb, my pointer finger with my thumb, and I put my pointer finger on the second fret of the G string. And it has that very sussy sound to it as well, which is really nice. You want to continue to let the B and the E string ring out. Wonder how's it gonna be. Then you go to a B, the B sus, and you don't know me. Go back to the F sharp. How's it gonna be? And then go to the A sus. I'm not there. And repeat that. How's it gonna be? There's no one there to talk to between you and me. 'Cause I don't care. How's it gonna? And you go go back into the verse. For the bridge, we're going to reuse all the same chords that we've already learned, so no new chords to learn. There's a little bit of a different sequence. We're going to start off on that F sharp sussy chord. And how's it gonna? Then we'll go to the A sus. When you don't. To the E major. Into the B. Back to the F sharp. How's it gonna? A sus. B. How's it gonna? So when we put that all together, we have. And how's it gonna be when you don't love me anymore? And how's it gonna be? How's it gonna be? So that F sharp can be a little bit tough to get comfortable and familiar with, because what your pointer finger has to do is, from the back of the guitar, wrap around, avoid the B and the E string, and hit the second fret of the G string. And that's a bit of a stretch. That's a reach. So you'll eventually learn to create space underneath your finger right here to allow for those B and the B and the E string to ring. See how they're ringing, even though my, this finger is very close to them. So you could hear my finger mute that very lightly, because it's not an easy position to grab. You can hear my finger kill that E string. So that will take some time, and like I say, you'll eventually learn to create that space in between there, in order to allow those strings to ring out. And some general strumming technique that we'll talk about is to keep your pick, I'm using a pick for this song, of course, firmly in between your fingers, but at the same time, loose enough to where it treats each individual string very evenly. When you start gripping the pick too tight, you get very uneven notes coming out of your guitar. But what you want is just very even strums. And you don't want any string to be given more attention than any other string. Another way to look at it is to imagine you are strumming 6 strings, but treat them all as though they're one. You essentially want to produce one sound as opposed to 6 individual ones. So keeping the pick nice and loose in your fingers, like I was saying, is going to be a big part of that. The other part is going to be in your wrist. You want your wrist to be, again, controlled, but loose. If your wrist is very rigid, you're going to blast through those strings, and some are going to sound out louder than others because the strings are controlling your wrist, and as opposed to the other way around, where your wrist is approaching the strings. Getting all philosophical there, but and what helps me to do that, one thing that I suggest to anyone when I'm teaching them guitar, is to keep your fingers fanned out. That helps my centrifugal motion that my arm is making. If I have my fingers closed in, I mean, it's still possible, but it just, this way feels a lot more balanced when I'm strumming. I'm able to use the weight of my fingers to whip through the strings a little bit more quickly, and therein make it sound more like one sound as opposed to, like I was saying earlier, individual strings.